18 to 24 months for most users. When that happens, you may notice performance issues with your phone, which means it's time for a new battery. Today, we're going to show you how to replace the battery in your iPhone 13. For this repair, you'll need a P2 pentalobe driver, a Phillips 00 driver, a Y000 driver, an eye opener, a suction handle or ice glack, iFixit opening picks, tweezers, a spudger, and some isopropyl alcohol. We also recommend using our magnetic mat so you can keep track of screws and write down notes during your repair. You'll also need display adhesive to make sure your phone retains its water resistance when you reseal your phone, as well as battery adhesive to make sure your battery isn't moving around after the replacement is finished. Also, make sure you're following the step-by-step guide on iFixit.com, as you'll be able to read tips and tricks that will help you throughout the repair. Before you start any iPhone repair, make sure you discharge the battery to below 25%. A charged lithium-ion battery can catch fire or explode if you damage it. Just a heads up before you replace your battery. Apple requires replacement parts to be synced with the iPhone after replacement, and unfortunately the software required to do this is not currently available to the public. After the battery replacement, your iPhone may display a warning about the genuineness of the battery. You'll also notice battery health and performance reporting functions will no longer work, even when using original Apple parts. If your iPhone functions normally, you can safely ignore all of these issues. To begin, power off your phone by holding the side and bottom volume buttons. Remove the two P2 pentalobe screws at the bottom of the iPhone. Grab a hot eye opener and lay the clear side down along the bottom edge of the phone. This will soften the display adhesive. For the next few steps, we're going to be using an ice glack. If you don't have an ice glack on hand, refer to the repair guide on our site where we walk you through how to use a suction handle to remove the iPhone's display. Once your iPhone is heated, grab the ice glack and position its suction cups near the bottom edge of the iPhone. Then press both cups firmly into place. With the suction cups engaged, hold onto your phone securely and close the handles of the ice glack to slightly separate the screen from the rear case. For this step, we're not trying to fully separate the display from the phone's body, we just want to create a gap. Once you see the gap between the display and the rear case, insert an opening pick into the opening. Next, place your heated eye opener on the left edge of the iPhone for about a minute to soften the adhesive. Then slide the opening pick around the lower left corner and up the left edge of the iPhone, making sure you don't insert the pick more than 2 millimeters. Once you're done with the left side, lay a heated eye opener on the right edge of the iPhone and repeat this process. Finally, place your eye opener along the top edge of the iPhone. Insert your pick into the right edge at the top and slide it across the edge. Be very careful and don't insert the pick more than 1 millimeter here. With all the adhesive separated, you can now open the phone by swinging the display up from the right side like the front cover of a book. Don't try and fully remove the display yet though, it's still attached via ribbon cables. Lean the display against something like a box or your driver kit so the iPhone is easier to work on, and then use a Phillips screwdriver to remove the 3 screws securing the battery and display connector cover. Then remove the cover with your tweezers. Use a spudger or clean fingernail and pry up the battery connector from its socket on the logic board. Bend the connector away slightly so you don't risk the chance of it making contact with the board. Now, disconnect the display cable from the logic board. Remove the 2 Phillips and 1 Y000 screws securing the front sensor connector cover, and remove the cover with your tweezers by swinging the cover towards the display to unclip the hook. Now you can disconnect the front sensor assembly cable from the logic board, and your display is now free from the rear case. To have easier access to the adhesive pull tab securing the battery, we need to remove the loudspeaker. It's held in place by 4 Phillips screws. When those screws are out, you can remove the loudspeaker. There are 4 adhesive strips with pull tabs holding the battery in place. To remove them, begin by gently lifting up the edges of the pull tabs, and then use a pair of blunt tweezers to peel the tabs away from the battery. Starting with the bottom strips, grab a tab with your fingers and slowly pull it away from the battery while holding the sides of the phone. Pull until the strip pops out, and then repeat the process for the pull tab next to it. If a pull tab breaks or you're having trouble removing the strips, grab some isopropyl alcohol and apply some around the battery. Tilt the phone so the alcohol penetrates under the battery, and then let it sit for a couple of minutes. Once that's done, the battery should lift out with just a little force. Check to see if your replacement battery came with pre-installed adhesive strips. If there are no strips in place, check out our video on how to install adhesive strips on your battery. Lay the battery in your phone gently and position it so you're able to connect the battery to the logic board. Once it's in place, press down on the battery to activate the adhesive, and then disconnect the battery using a spudger or your fingernail. We don't want the phone to be powered during the rest of this repair. Insert the loudspeaker and reinstall the screws securing it to the phone. Make sure your display has its adhesive strips in place. If it doesn't, check out our video walking you through the process of reinstalling display adhesive. This will ensure that your phone retains its water resistance. With the backing of the adhesive still in place, align the display with your phone and connect the front sensor cable and display cable to the logic board. Go ahead and connect the battery cable and power on your phone to make sure it functions properly. If all is well, power your phone off and screw the covers over the battery and display cables back in place. If your adhesive backing is still on, go ahead and remove it. Now lay the display into position by aligning the clips along the top edge and carefully pressing the top edge into place. If it doesn't click easily into place, check the clips to make sure they aren't bent. If they do click easily into place, continue pressing the rest of the display down. Finally, screw back in the 2 pentalobe screws at the bottom of the phone. For best results, we recommend calibrating your new battery. We have a page walking you through the process.